Good morning, everyone. Thank you for being here today. We are on the eve of the state primary election. That is the first primary election since the presidential election of 2000, which was the most secure and accurate and highest turnout election in Michigan history. 5.5 million citizens cast their ballots to make their voices heard in our democracy in that election. More than 200 audits and reviews by a Republican-led committee and the state's Auditor General confirmed their votes were counted accurately and fairly. But in the 20 months since that election, people unhappy with the outcome, unhappy with the will of the 5.5 million voters of our state, have carried out a relentless and coordinated attack on our elections and our democracy. Now, this multifaceted attack is carried out with misinformation, lies, legislative strategy, meritless lawsuits, and threats to and harassment of election officials and their families. The people advancing this attack want to deter American citizens from voting, or, if they do not cast ballots, to undermine the faith in our elections that the will of the people can be overturned. And so today, the day before our first statewide election since 2020, I am here to assure voters that they will be safe and that their rights will be protected in both the primary election tomorrow and the general election in November. We will not tolerate any attempts to disrupt our elections, any voter suppression, or election interference attempts in Michigan. My administration has worked with election clerks and law enforcement all across the state to ensure they know how to address such behavior and, if necessary, remove and arrest bad actors. We have provided clerks and law enforcement with materials to ensure they know what is and is not allowed, and have provided a code of conduct that clerks can ask their election workers to sign before their shift. In partnership with officials of integrity all across the state, we will protect the voting rights of every citizen and ensure that every valid vote is counted. So I encourage all eligible citizens to confidently participate in our primary election. Polling places will be open tomorrow from 7 a.m. to 8 p.m. statewide, and voters can hand deliver their absentee ballots to their clerk's office or drop box by 8 p.m. Those who have not registered will still be able to do so at their clerk's office until 8 p.m., and they can immediately request and vote with an absentee ballot right there in the office. I ask that anyone who witnesses voter intimidation or election interference immediately contact their local election clerk's office, local law enforcement, or call the Voter Protection Hotline at 866-OUR-VOTE. I also want to remind voters that there may be additional attempts to mislead them after the polls close tomorrow and through November. Bad actors could wrongly claim that the time it takes to finish counting absentee ballots is evidence of malfeasance rather than simply acknowledging the truth that counting often continues long after polls close because the Michigan State Legislature has not provided Michigan election clerks time before Election Day to pre-process absentee ballots. Many other states provide multiple days or weeks for pre-processing, and I have joined clerks in asking for pre-processing time here in Michigan for years. Also, I ask that voters are mindful that additional election result confusion can occur if media reports results after polls close, and note that they have data from nearly all precincts, but voters don't remember that half those precincts' ballots may have been cast absentee and therefore not be included in the actual results. Then, as absentee ballot counting boards do finish counting, it can appear as if the total vote counts increased by large numbers long after polls closed and media reported results from most, if not all, precincts. So finally, after the primary or general election canvassers may attempt to sow seeds of doubt in Michigan's elections by refusing to carry out their duty under the law to canvass and certify the election if their preferred candidate doesn't win. Such actions will be futile, as our court system will either force them or other canvassers to certify the elections in accordance with the law, but the canvassers already refused to certify elections in New Mexico, and the same illegal ploy could be attempted here or elsewhere in the nation before the end of the year. If it does, we'll be prepared. I ask that voters be wary of false claims for refusal to certify, including the minor clerical errors that cause some precincts to be out of balance every election, and conspiracy theories about voting machines. The truth is always available, and I urge voters to turn to official, trusted sources to find it. My office will continue to publish it in full transparency, as do local and county election clerks across the state. I have always said that democracy is a team sport. It works best when we all participate and when we all, Republicans, Democrats, and independents, stand up to protect its integrity. I'm confident that election officials in Michigan will do that tomorrow and again in November, and by doing so, we will ensure that all eligible citizens are able to vote, have their vote counted, and make their voice heard.